Hi and welcome, Martina here. Today I'd like to create a card that checks a lot of boxes. This month the challenge team is focusing on cards with the ocean colors, and we all know that all the tealish colors are the absolute favorite colors of Marion Emberson, which is the color mixing guru of wow embossing powder, and I think this card should be a little appreciation card for her. I have been covering a piece of cardstock with the ultra slow drying embossing ink, and now I'm pouring the whole pot in the navy over my paper. Since my jar isn't completely full anymore, I need, I think, 2 or 3 goes until the whole paper is totally covered with Indie Navy. And I just keep on putting the embossing powder back into my jar and just, pour on, put back, pour on, put back, until I have a nice coverage of the embossing powder on my cardstock. And now it's time for my first layer of magic. I am making sure that my dual speed heat gun is really warm when I start to heat set the embossing powder, and then you can just see me going in lines, which makes it really easy to see where the powder is melted and where not. And you see it's pretty fast and quick. And since I really know that Marion loves Disco Ball on top of Indie Navy, I decided to do that creation for her. I have covered my whole paper, which is now covered with Indie Navy, with a second layer of the embossing ink, and I am now pouring the whole jar Disco Ball over the embossing ink, and again heat setting the embossing powder on top of the Indie Navy. I think it's even more magical to see the second layer melt, because you now can see all the sparkle and shine of Disco Ball on top of that beautiful blue background. And I think this covers that teal ocean beach theme really well. I have quickly die cut my heat embossed paper with a heart frame die, which is from Alexandra Renke. And the beautiful thing is it's a 2-layer die. You have the base die where you can see lots of the beautiful background, and then the second layer, it's just a thin white frame. I have been gluing the second layer on top of the base layer, and after that's been done, I just glued the whole thing onto my card base, which is a 6 by 6 inch card base. You might have recognized that I hadn't been really precise when lining up the die cuts on the left side, and so I decided to cover that little mess up with some of the leftover die cut hearts. To add some more depth and interest and dimension, I was popping them onto 3D foam before gluing them to the card. I think it's just a nice little addition to the background. My focal point will be the Thank You Die by Kathy Sielski for Simon Says Stamp. Since I got a lot of questions on my sparkles process, I thought I'll show it in today's video. I'm taking Elizabeth Craft's double-sided adhesive tape, glue that to a piece of cardstock, and then die cut it before I pour my sparkles over it. As you can see me doing now, I think it's a pretty fast, uncomplicated, and I actually think unmessy way to add sparkle to your projects. I just can't get over it. I love it. I totally love it. And since I have the base layer of my focal point, I decided to add some in the navy to my upper layer because I thought it was a nice idea to, well, have the color of the very base on the very top. And I just covered a small piece of cardstock with the embossing ink, poured in the navy over it, heat set the embossing powder, and die cut the thank you again out of that and just glued it onto my crystal sparkly background. When I have done that, it was just gluing the thank you onto the base layer, let that dry for a little, and then I have added the same 3D foam as I have added to the hearts to have everything on the same layer. And that's it for today's card. I really hope you liked the process. I hope you feel inspired and encouraged to get creative, and can't wait to see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.